Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Faith and today we're going to be reacting to a Candace Owen'S podcast titled This is What is Wrong with Black Culture. If you're new to my YouTube channel, you're highly welcome. Please do subscribe, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share and all that good stuff. And with all that being said, let's just dive right into this video.
Happy Monday, everybody. Question of the day. What has 8 legs and is anti-Semitic? If you guessed calamari, you were a lot closer than I was this weekend. Apparently. Octopuses, you silly person. We're going to get into it because Greta Thunberg is being canceled. Plus, later on in the show, you're not going to believe me. You're not going to believe your ears or your eyes when I show you this 9-year-old rapper. He goes by Lil RT, and he is going viral for a music video that has, honest to God, shocked me. It shocked me simply because it's even allowed to be on YouTube, and I barely am allowed to be here. All that and more today coming up on Candace Owen'S. So what was it? Last Friday, I think we left the show. And I think we entitled the episode, Everything is Racist and Anti-Semitic. And wow, if I had known how sage, if I had known that basically it was a prognostication into the future, man, more people would be listening to this podcast. I'd have millions of views every day. Because then over the weekend, Greta Thunberg got into some hot water because she posted this onto her Instagram. Okay, so you would think, obviously, people would be very upset about this post because she is basically saying that she is standing with Palestine. She wrote the caption, "Today we are striking in solidarity with Palestine and Gaza. The world needs to speak up and call for an immediate ceasefire, justice, and freedom for Palestinians and all civilians affected." In the photo that is accompanying this, there is a girl behind her, the sign that reads, "Climate Justice Now." It's got a little fist and it's got a little Palestinian flag. And she's got another girl next to her with just the Free Palestine with the flag, and a girl beneath that person holding a sign that says, "This Jew stands with Palestine." And Greta's sign says, "Stand with Gaza." And there's some sort of a stuffed animal behind her, but nobody paid attention to the stuffed animal. Obviously, the bigger thing here is that Greta Thunberg, like many other people, are just standing with Palestine. That's what I thought she was going to go viral for. But then this headline appeared in the Daily Mail, and I got very confused. Greta Thunberg and climate justice and talking about bombs being dropped in the Middle East, I can maybe follow that. But Daily Mail wrote this: Greta Thunberg deletes the "I stand with Gaza" social media post after critics claimed the stuffed octopus in the photo could be viewed as an anti-Semitic symbol. As she says, the toy helps with her autism. Now, pardon me for laughing. These things are very serious, obviously. So I played a game with myself. I said, I'm actually not going to look up how octopuses are anti-Semitic. I'm going to try to come up with it by myself. I did my best. I literally sat there for 48 hours. And I said, how could an octopus be construed as anti-Semitic? What did I miss here? Like, am I educated? Am I not educated? I don't know. I thought maybe they were going to say, it's got 8 legs and it's saying that Jewish people are trying to take stuff from you times 8 or something. I tried. I racked my brain, guys. I did my best. I came up dry. Nothing. It required me to do some deeper research. Well, I'll tell you this. Greta did, in fact, delete that Instagram post, and she also issued an apology. That's how bad this little octopus person was, okay? This is how bad it is for you to have a plush octopus, in case you didn't know. Greta wrote this. She wrote, "It has come to my knowledge the stuffed animal shown in my earlier post can be interpreted as a symbol for anti-Semitism, which I was completely unaware of." Not just you, Greta. She goes on to write, "The toy in the picture is a tool often used by autistic people as a way to communicate feelings. We are, of course, against any type of discrimination and condemn anti-Semitism in all forms and shapes." Sorry to chuckle, because that is the standard sentence that you're supposed to say when you're in trouble. You say, "I condemn it in all of its forms and all of its shapes." So whether it's a triangle, it's shaped like a triangle, condemn it. If it's shaped like an octopus, just freaking condemn the anti-Semitism. Good job, Greta. She goes on to say, "This is non-negotiable. That is why I deleted the last post." Good, Greta. That's the right thing to do. all of its shapes, all of its sizes, all of its forms, but I was still left amazed, first and foremost, why this girl who's got to be in her early 20s now. How old is Greta? Is she 23 now? I know she looks like she's 7, but she is, I think she's 20, 21. No, she's older than 21 because she was talking about how she doesn't drink. Whatever. I am shocked that she's traveling with a plush octopus. I am confused about how she uses it to help her communicate. If she is using it to help her communicate, I didn't see it at the UN when she said, "How dare you?" There wasn't a little octopus stuffed animal helping her to communicate. I know people that have autism, like Greta has autism. It can be sensory. Children has a lot to do with, the way things feel, but she's saying it helps her communicate, and I've not seen her. She's given a lot of speeches. She's been in the public a lot. I have not yet seen this plush octopus. So that's my first question, is how is the plush octopus helping her to communicate? And then, of course, my second and bigger question is just when and how did octopuses become anti-Semitic? I don't understand this. Well, fortunately, you guys, there is a Holocaust encyclopedia, and it can tell you how actually octopuses are anti-Semitic. So for those of you who maybe have plush octopus toys, I hate to say this, I do. I have 2 toddlers at home. I got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and we do actually have a stuffed octopus, but worry not, I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm also going to condemn anti-Semitism in all of its shapes and its forms as I do it. But it turns out that according to the Holocaust Encyclopedia, octopuses can be used as anti-Jewish propaganda. So you're wondering, how is this anti-Jewish propaganda? Well, there was a cartoonist, and you might have missed it because maybe you weren't even alive, like I wasn't. There was a cartoonist. He dropped this cartoon at sometime between 1935 and 1944. And in the cartoon, he depicts what was basically him warning of a Jewish conspiracy, that Jewish people were going to take over the world. So it's supposed to be an octopus. The octopus is actually supposed to be Winston Churchill, and it's depicting a worldwide conspiracy that Jewish people are going to take over the world. Now, if you, again, missed this one-time cartoon that premiered in 1938, which was done by some guy named Joseph Planck, shame on you. You should have known it. You should have known this, obviously, and now you do. So in case you have octopuses in your home that you'd like to clear out, in case you'd like to stop eating octopus, now would be the appropriate time to do it. Now, what do we actually have here? Well, I was talking to my husband because I will say I have been very startled by the amount of pro-Palestine protests that have been taking place all across the globe. We talked about this last Friday. And I wanted to kind of think deeper about just the psychological impact of everything that's happening, and really the psychological impact, how we receive victim mentality, right? And I was thinking about Black America because it's the easiest context for me to understand it. And I thought about how victimhood obviously is a currency, and it is actually a currency that all of us accept in some regard, right? So let's say you have a guy that you work with and you see him every day at the office, and one day you see him and he sort of bumps you in the hallway. You're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "F you," and just kind of loses his fuse on you for no reason, right? Just like office banter. And you're like, "What the heck? I'm not going to tolerate that." And then someone comes up to you and says, No. Tony's dad just died." And then you're like, "Oh, man, I feel bad about that, man. Okay, now I kind of understand why he bumped me there, and he's obviously going through something." So you instantly accept this as an excuse. It's a bad excuse, of course. Just because something happened to Tony doesn't mean that Tony's allowed to be a jerk. But you would allow it. You would. You would allow it this one time because you'd feel so bad because Tony's dad just died. But if Tony kept that up and for the next 2 weeks he kept bumping you and saying F you in the hallway, suddenly your tolerance for "I'm a victim, Tony" will go way down. It's like, all right, bro, you need to get over it. Everybody's lost relatives. Everybody's had something bad happen to them. You don't get to become a permanent jerk, okay? A permanent victim and treat people poorly just because something happened to you. Right? So your tolerance kind of disappears. This is what I was talking to you about with my husband. And we saw this, you can obviously think about this in terms of social justice movements, right? Social justice movements, actually, it's a fallacy. The idea that something happened in your ancestral history and you get to behave poorly is a complete and utter fallacy. But you see this logic over and over again, this failed logic over and over again. In the circumstance of Black America, it was, well, we were slaves and we haven't really cashed in on this victim currency. And then suddenly you had, little tidbits of it. Of course, you had the civil rights movement that took place. But then really, when Black America decided to fully cash in, took place with Black Lives Matter, obviously. This became a black man died. Police were there when he died. And so now I have the ability to run into a Target and grab a flat screen TV. And America took it. I don't know what happened, but America said, okay, we get it. We would just have to accept this because at some point we have this terrible thing that happened to Black America. They were slaves. It was wrong. And if we allow Black America to keep doing this, somehow we will be cleansed. We will be cleansed of our collective guilty consciousness about it. But then something tipped over, and because it was so outrageous and it got so absurd and everything was called racist and people were losing their jobs and people were losing their livelihoods, people were losing their careers, people got tired of it. It will never happen again. What you saw after George Floyd will never happen again in this country because they spent all the victim currency. It's over. It's done, right? It doesn't hit the same now when you see the articles about a black man dying. People ask questions immediately. They feel duped. I think the same is what's happened. We talked about this on Friday in the Jewish community, right? It's been victim currency that people felt bizarrely that we had to account for. World War II didn't even happen in America. We've had nothing to do with it. Jewish people living great in America, obviously. There's been no nastiness towards Jewish people in America overall, right? And yet we've had to deal with this collective guilty conscience about the fact that the Holocaust occurred. And recently, it's really been ramping up, where people are starting to lose their jobs. Everything is being interpreted as anti-Semitic. A difference in opinion is being interpreted as anti-Semitic. And now we have octopuses that are being interpreted as anti-Semitic. And it needs to stop. It does. It needs to stop. Because what's at the end of that is people turn around and they say, okay, you are no longer the victim ever. Becomes the boy who cried wolf, right? I don't want to hear this anymore. I don't want to talk to you about you and your victimhood anymore. Everything you interpret as anti-Semitic actually isn't. The appetite doesn't just decrease for the name calling, it completely gets wiped away. And actually, what I want to say in closing is that victim mentality makes us all weaker, okay? Nobody should be crying about a picture of a plush octopus. If you want to debate the merit of her saying she's pro-Palestine or pro-Gaza, go for it. That's fine. Have a true academic, rigorous debate about it, okay? But don't sit here and pretend that you were offended by a plush octopus. There are tons of reasons to cancel Greta Thunberg. Many reasons to cancel Greta Thunberg, because she's essentially led a fraudulent revolution against people who don't buy into her climate scam. That's why she should be canceled. But for a plush octopus that helps her communicate sometimes because she's autistic, nah, I'm not buying it. That's all I have to say about that. International governments and central banks are announcing plans to impose digital currencies and digital IDs on their respective populations. What does this mean for you? Central bank digital currencies allow the government to track every single purchase that you make. Even if you don't follow economic policies that closely, you should be concerned, and you should consider diversifying at least some of your assets into physical precious metals with the help of Birch Gold Group. Call Birch Gold today to preserve your savings in a tax-sheltered retirement account. If you have an IRA or a 401k from a previous employer that's just gathering dust, call Birch Gold and they'll help you convert it into an IRA in gold. You won't pay a single penny out of pocket. They will simply convert that 401k into physical gold, which, unlike digital currency, cannot be tampered with. So text Candace to 989898, and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. Because if digital currency becomes a reality, you'll be glad to have something physical to fall back on. Text Candace to 989898 and claim your free info kit on gold today. Okay, now it's time for some topics du jour. So there are a lot of reasons that we shouldn't be rushing into a war, whether that be in Ukraine, whether that be in Middle Eastern territory, whether that be in providing boots on the ground for Israel. We should, as I said earlier, have a rigorous academic discussion about that. And it's namely for me, one of the reasons is because, well, we keep losing them as in, it seems like they're very long money laundering operations, and then we just kind of leave. And the places are exactly the same way that they were when we first put boots on the ground. Afghanistan, Iraq, what's been going on? If you're part of my generation, millennials, you understand that there's a lot of emotional engineering, and then you're told that we must get involved for some moral crusade purpose. And then you actually realize that nothing has changed. And we just would like to stop doing that, right? Well, another huge reason that I'm opposed to it is because we're not producing a generation of people that can fight in wars. And whether we are talking about the birth of social media, whether we're talking about the weakening of men in our society, I'm talking about in Western society, or if we're talking about the weakening of women in Western society, now would not be a really good time for us to rah, go America, right? We have a lot of issues here happening on American soil, but probably the biggest issue is the corrosion of our culture. And thankfully, we have an individual on TikTok. He goes by @BacteriaBaby. That's his handle, at least. His name is Ryan, who took to the internet as a Gen Zer to talk about why he's not getting drafted. Take a listen.
Why is everybody saying Gen Z is going to get drafted? Like, no, we're not. Like, how are they going to actually force us to get up and go to war? I understand it was like that in like the 1940s. What else is there to do in 1940 besides shoot people? We have things to do nowadays. We have twerk, be bisexual, eat hot chip, lie. And we're also like really mentally ill. What makes you think I'm qualified to have a gun?
So this video went viral. Somebody lifted it and put it on Twitter, and obviously people are responding to it and they're outraged. And I want to be clear, I'm not outraged when I see this video. He is quite embarrassed that this has gone viral, and he's kind of saying, well, it was meant to be satire, and now he's trying to give more severe reasons for why people shouldn't go to war. But to be clear, this is his entire brand on TikTok. He's a spoiled Gen Zer, college student. He attends Penn State, and he kind of talks about the way he sees the world through his eyes. I think actually it's commendable. I think it's honest. I appreciated seeing this video because it is an example of exactly what I am talking about. The weakening of men, the stage that we are in, the crisis that we are facing in America, because this is your average 18 to 21-year-old, right? We've fallen very far and very fast from the times of World War II. And yet our politicians act like we haven't, as if we could have a draft and have some real men put boots in the ground. No, he's telling you the truth. I'm on Wellbutrin. He talks in other videos about the fact that he's on a prescription of Wellbutrin to treat his anxiety and depression. Not something to be mocked. I talk about this on the show all the time. Big Pharma, what it has done, aside from the fact that I believe that it has weakened our men testosteronally, like I actually believe that the decrease that we have seen in testosterone over the past couple of decades is going to be largely attributed to the explosion of vaccines, the explosion of pharmaceuticals being given to young children like him, who believes that he is struggling with anxiety and struggling with depression, and so he has to take a pill every single day. Aside from that, we're dealing with a crisis. It's just all across the board: family, women, men. And we are ignoring this and having politicians that are beating the drum as if we are the same America that put an end to World War II. We're not. So let's dial down the rhetoric, okay? Let's stop pretending that we are. Let's stop looking to get involved in every overseas conflict as if everyone in the world is so fearful of big bad America. They can see this. They have access to TikTok. In fact, TikTok is a Chinese app, right? Their algorithms are feeding men like him, young men like him, to show you this is what everyone should aspire to be. It's the reason why a person like Dylan Mulvaney instantly decides to become a woman and instantly gets a following on TikTok. China's not stupid. They understand how they can take over America without firing a single bullet. It's psychology. It's psychology, people aspiring for attention. And so while people are making fun of him, while people are saying that they actually hope he gets drafted, I don't. I think you look at it as an example. I appreciate him providing an example to the world of what is actually happening in America and why we say maybe it's time that we fix some issues at home, because he's one of them. And I want to point you to a rapper. It's unbelievable. He is 9 years old, allegedly. We think he's somewhere between 6 and 9 years old, depending on which person you're believing, but he has an Instagram account. He also has a YouTube account. I'm going to show you one of his rap songs that is on YouTube. It is called 60 Miles. And I just want you to keep in mind here that as a YouTube policy, if I misgender someone, if someone believes on the inside there's something, and I use rhetoric to suggest that maybe they're not, I'm considered a danger to the YouTube community. My video will get taken down. But this 6 to 9-year-old is allowed to have his video stay up. There's nothing wrong with the video that you're about to see from Lil RT. Take a listen. So in case you missed the lyrics, you would be lucky if you did miss them. I am going to slow it down because I think it's important. You saw a child there, and it's important to hear these lyrics. By the way, if you are around children right now, this is not the time because it's derogatory. It's worse than derogatory. So I'll give you 5 seconds, right? Make sure there's no children in the room. The lyrics that came from this song as being performed by Lil RT, the maybe 6, maybe 9-year-old, reads, "If she ain't sucking bleep, Lil B-I-T-C-H, you can get the F up out my S-H-T. 100 round, hit him with the Glock, take an effer down. 100 round, B-I-T-C-H, we in that kill, we gon' take him down. 12, get behind me, that's the cops. We gon' do 60 effing miles, yeah." So to understand that, he is basically talking about a presumably random woman who can't hang out with him unless she's willing to perform fellatio. This is a 9-year-old, okay? And he is talking about his gun, and he is talking about having 100 rounds as he runs from the police. Totally YouTube content safe. Incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Now, I want to be clear, as this is being debated on the internet right now, this completely saddens me. It is the destruction of Black culture. It is the destruction, therefore, of American culture, and this is what we are starting to see. His mother is promoting him on Instagram. If you think that there's a problem with this, if you think that this content should be pulled down, I do, then there's something wrong with you and you're jealous. People in the comments are calling this person Coco Felon, okay? And to think that this is a mother saying that, oh, he's talented, people in the comments saying, well, he's talented and she's trying to help him pursue that path. No. This is a kid, and I hate to say this because we've seen so many instances of this in the media, who will end up dead, okay? He is holding dollar bills, talking about killing people. If you think that his mother is setting him on the right path, then it's because you're an idiot, okay? You are an idiot who contributes nothing to our society. And yes, some people have realized that. Here are some other comments that have appeared under this video. Y'all shouldn't be promoting this at all. There is nothing funny about it, says one person. Another person says his parents failed him. A third person says it's sad that kids can't be kids anymore. And all of those people are correct. Now, if you're thinking, shouldn't he be in school? You would be right. Because there's this video on his Instagram page. Take a listen.
You didn't say I'm on the 9.
So they're laughing. He obviously has taken a piece of paper. He attempts to read it and says, "What the F does this say? I'm only 9," which is to suggest, obviously, that he can't read. So he needs somebody to come read that. People are giggling and laughing. It's not funny. If you are, in fact, 9 years old, not only should you be able to read, you should be able to read chapter books, okay? You should be in the 4th grade. And the 4th grade is when I began reading Harry Potter. If you can't read a piece of paper when you are 9 years old, then your mother has failed you, the school system has failed you, this country has failed you, and you have no chance. And it's not because of you. It's honestly not this kid's fault, which is why I'm not going to sit here and make fun of him. Has everything to do with his surroundings and the crisis that I am talking about in this country. Whether it is a kid that is actually in college, sitting in a university dorm, talking about how he's not getting drafted because he's on Wellbutrin, or it's this kid who's talking about Glocks that he wants to load up, and women, he's prepubescent, that won't perform sex acts on him. in a really bad place in this country. That's the point. We are in a really bad place. Shame on YouTube for allowing that content to stay up there. Shame on Instagram for allowing us to go through this. There should be a cry out and a demand that these videos get taken off of the internet. Moving on, and still talking about videos that should definitely be taken off the internet because I don't think I've ever cringed harder. Guys, I'll ask you a riddle. If I told you that a 34-year-old woman got together with a 28-year-old woman, what would you think they would do hanging out? Now, you might be thinking, oh, maybe they'll have some wine and talk about their problems. Okay, age appropriate, I'll give it to you. You might be thinking, well, maybe they both have kids. Maybe they're getting their kids together for a play date. Yeah, go ahead, I'll give it to you. What you are definitely not thinking is that they got together and came up with a secret handshake, complete with a hip bump, because that's simply not the way 34-year-old women behave. Unless you're Taylor Swift, who I've been pointing out is cosplaying, and now I'd like to change it for the record. I say that she cosplays a 15-year-old. I'm actually going to say she's actually cosplaying an 8-year-old. Her entire fandom is based upon the fact that as a 34-year-old woman, she acts like a cringe 8-year-old that's going through, a weird phase in her life. Maybe 13, right? 13, braces, don't know what to wear to school. She dresses awkward. She has turned this into a brand, and I think it is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. So Taylor Swift, she collects friends, like some people collect Beanie Babies, is now best friends with Brittany Mahomes because Taylor Swift is dating the Kansas Chief player, Travis Kelce. And of course, since she instantly became best friends with her because she instantly becomes best friends with everybody because she has the brain of an 8-year-old, they decided at some point when we couldn't see this, they got together and they came up with a secret handshake, complete with a hip bump. Yeah, let's watch them yesterday at the Kansas City Chiefs game after the Kansas City Chiefs scored a touchdown. Take a look and try not to cringe. Try not to cringe. It's just like, why? Why can't people see this? Now, why does this frustrate me? Because I talk about this all the time. We are also facing a crisis where adults want to behave like children and children want to behave like adults. And people think this is cute. It's not. This is not how 34-year-old women behave. We don't come up with secret handshakes. We don't hip bump each other. That is childish. It is theatrical. It should never be seen. I have such an issue with this. It just makes me cringe every inch of my body. Every time I watch it, it makes me cringe. And you know what it reminds me of? I said, where have I seen this handshake before? In case you don't remember it, let me take you down memory lane with Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap. Now, why was that adorable? Because Lindsay Lohan was a child and she was adorable. And the concept of a butler doing that with a child that they watch is adorable. I would come up with a secret handshake with my daughter. She happens to be 1. I would probably do this all the way from the time that she's 13. But there is no way in hell I am coming up with a secret hip bump handshake between me and one of my 34-year-old friends. There's just absolutely no way that I'm going to do this. Why? Because I take strong exception to women that infantilize themselves. It's weird and it's creepy. I don't care how many stadiums she sells out, okay? It is a part of the problem. Adults need to grow up and kids need to stay young. And for whatever reason in this country, things have been completely flipped on its head. I talk about preborn a lot on my show. I believe in their mission, and I know that you do too. Who wouldn't want to help rescue babies and help mothers that are in crisis? Preborn is reaching out into the hearts of women by allowing them to hear the heart of their babies. It's a divine connection that doubles a baby's chance at life. Every day, Preborn's network of clinics saves 200 babies' lives, but does not stop there. They offer mothers maternity clothes, doctor's visits, and the help that they need to choose life.
Hi, I'm Aisha, and I just wanted to share my journey with how the clinic has helped me come along this way. I just moved to LA to pursue a career. Found myself going through an unplanned pregnancy. I was debating whether or not I was even pregnant, so I did an online search and I found the clinic. And for sure I was doing this. I made the appointment. I showed up to my appointment, I spoke to one of the counselors and took a test. While I was waiting, they talked to me about different pregnancy choices and different options and information that helped me be more educated. The test is positive. To confirm, I got an ultrasound of the pregnancy test and it was for sure positive, and I got to hear and see my baby for the first time. Hearing the heartbeat made me cry, and it was certain that I was going to keep my baby forever. And from time to time, I still go to the clinic to get additional services like baby clothes and diapers and other things. And I've had so much support from everyone, the staff, the volunteers. I now see my daughter and I cannot imagine my life without my happy, lovely, joyful, smart baby. And I'm so grateful.
So how can you help? Your gift of just $28 will provide a free ultrasound, which could save the life of an unborn child. All gifts are tax deductible and will go directly towards saving babies' lives. To donate, you just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Or you can donate securely at preborn.com/Candace. That's preborn.com/Candace. All right, guys, it is now time to jump into some of your comments from episodes past. These comments are from last week's episode when we covered that 270-pound, apparently autistic student who beat the living hell out of a teacher. And I've said this, public schools have now become prison asylums. Kilo writes, my daughter's fiance works at an elementary school and sees all sorts of violent acts. These are 5 to 10-year-olds. Most recently, a 5th grader broke a teacher's arm. Our future prisons will be full of these enraged, entitled, and dangerous children. This is truly heartbreaking. I blame the parents for these kids. You should blame the parents for these kids, as I hope that we just showed you with the example of little RT. Brandon writes, I have autism myself. Seeing that student beating a teacher brutally is despicable. Yes, it absolutely is despicable. And as I said, the worst part of it is then trying to blame autism for it, saying like, this is just what autistic kids do and she should have been accepting of this. It's just ridiculous. Again, really talking about that permeating victim mentality that we have in America that is a plague on all of our consciousness. Diana writes, as a former special ed teacher, likely this is not the student's first offense. Fact is, discipline begins at home. It does not matter whether the student is high or low functioning. If the parents don't discipline, the kids turn out like garbage. Yep, and there should be no reason why these kids should be allowed in the public school system. It is absolutely ridiculous to say that because you teach, you should have to deal with this. This is like you should have to go to war every day. Like I said, that teacher could have died. The fact that it took so many people to remove him off of her and so much time, terrifying, all because she took away his video game. Why did he have his video game? Again, going back to the parental crisis that we are facing in this country, because parents want to be their children's fans. They want to be their best friends. They don't want to actually raise them. Lastly, Jessica writes, thank you so much for speaking on this and supporting teachers. I'm a middle school teacher and have been for 19 years. This happens more often than you think. Teachers are being mistreated on a daily basis and aren't able to defend themselves while parents are defending their child's actions using a disability or trauma as an excuse. It's scary to be an educator during these times. Yep, you're exactly right. Victim mentality. He's disabled. Oh, it's the trauma of slavery. It's the trauma of the Holocaust. This is the reason why everyone is acting this way. All of it needs to stop. Ladies and gentlemen, that is unfortunately all the time that we have for today. As a reminder, my 10-part series, Convicting a Murderer, is available now. The first episode is free on X and on YouTube. The second episode, also free, available on the Daily Wire Plus. A new episode drops every Thursday. So if you're a true crime junkie, you've been following this series, and this week is going to be the 10th episode, the final episode. You guys are going to love it. If you have not watched it, please be sure to check it out. We'll see you guys tomorrow for a brand new episode.
Wow, guys, that was one interesting topic to react to. I really enjoyed watching and listening to Candace Owen'S speak, and I'm sure you all did too. Tell me in the comment section what you think about this video, and if you're new to my YouTube channel, you're highly welcome. Please do subscribe, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And this is bringing us to the end of this video. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye bye.